That was quite something, wasn't it? We are so excited to have you here. Welcome to the Innovation Summit in North America. We have the privilege of having customers, partners, policymakers, industry association leaders, startups, nonprofits. And look, the reason we wanted to bring everybody together is because the challenges we're going to talk about over the next 2 days require an ecosystem to act. No one company can do it alone. And so we're so privileged that you've chosen to invest your time with us. We're privileged to have your partnership, your engagement. And what we ask you to do over the next 2 days is really take the time to be here and be present. It's a noisy world. There's a lot going on. But we think the opportunity to have this whole ecosystem in one place is what makes this event special. So again, thank you for being here. One of those partners is this incredible facility. This facility was opened in December 2023, and in a town that is known for this, they had one goal, one singular purpose: to create an unbelievable guest experience. Every aspect of the building has to work towards that goal. From when you come in, to how you get checked in, to how you move around the facility, to how everything seems to guide you towards the casino, all of that has to work, right? That is the purpose of the facility. And when you think about it, not as an individual set of isolated systems, but as an integrated asset working to that singular goal, you need technology that thinks the same way. And when they decided to figure out who was best positioned to give them that technology, they chose Schneider Electric. We are so proud to be their partner, and we're so excited to be in this fabulous, fabulous arena. Look, I live across the street from Navy Pier. Those of you who know your history know that Navy Pier was built as a demonstration of electricity. It was called the City of Lights. And it was a new emerging technology at the time. There was a lot of conversation about what will this technology do? What will it disrupt? Refrigeration as an industry was born, and ice distribution as an industry died. Lots of conversations about how this would impact jobs, safety. How do we make this technology safe? How quickly will it evolve? What standards should we adopt? You'll hear about DC technology. The debate was happening 130 years ago. And we were there. We were there making it safe and reliable and efficient from day one. Schneider has been, through its companies, part of the fabric of the electrification of the United States, of Mexico, and Canada. But you know, a strange thing happens when a technology has been around for a long time. Over time, we start taking it for granted. It becomes pervasive. It becomes invisible. It almost becomes magic. You flip a light, the lights come on, everything works. Magic. Well, actually, it's not. It's actually the biggest system we've ever built in the grid. And now, 70 plus years later from the last systemic investment, that asset is at the end of its useful life. The grid we have in this country and in many parts of the world is at a point where it needs to be massively upgraded. We have to think about the system differently. Think about it this way. Of the total energy mix, electricity today is about 23%. By 2030, it will be 57%. And there are different projections, right, that go up to 2050 in terms of rate of improvement, but the mix of electricity is going to increase, right? We have models that we do with a research institute, with NREL, and there are, of course, lots of different assumptions. But if you take nothing away, take away this fact. The world, this country, will get more electrified. Transport, buildings, every aspect. And the system we have to generate and distribute that electricity in the top 5 states that are going to data centers. By the way, there are charts like this, if you go to all states, that are remarkable in the sense of how quickly the system is changing and how quickly this asset is requiring this energy. But this is not the only driver. There's a lot of conversation about rate increases being a function of data centers. No, this is the most obvious, most visible, largest, fastest growing load requirement. But actually, weather events, aging infrastructure, the slow but consistent electrification of transport and buildings and industries is all accumulating. So this is just the catalyst that is taking a system that was already under stress and pushing it. And we have to now think about that system differently. So next year, the system is going to require 15% more. By 2028, there are projections, again, we did this work with NREL, where the demand will be greater than available supply. And of course, there are plenty of people working on the supply side of this. By 2033, we'll have enough shortfall for about 100 million homes, which of course will translate directly into pricing, which may translate, if we don't manage this well, into complicated politics. And by 2050, like I said, there are projections where the demand equation will almost double, and the rate of increase will get much, much larger. The US must absorb 1,000 terawatts. And many of you in this room understand exactly what this means. For the rest of us, remember that number, 100 million homes. That's the amount of shortfall we're talking about in the next 10 years. So one of the things we're going to try and do is convince you that this is not a single vector problem, that we have to think about this as a system. From grid to chip and chip to chiller. We have to think about this as a system that involves all of these factors. Of course, we're going to talk about data centers. And Pankaj will talk to you about AI factories, where electrons equal intelligence. Of course, we're going to have to think differently about buildings, not just new buildings like this fantastic facility we're in, but how do we take the existing stock of buildings? 40% of the energy consumption in cities comes from buildings. How do we take that existing stock and make it more efficient? And what are the technologies that allow to think of the building as a system? And what are the people investing in new assets, but also modernization of existing assets in that space? So we'll have that conversation. As we look at the workforce, there'll be a lot more automation. And automation, digital transformation, and electrification will converge. The industries of the future will have all three of those consistently. We will need the digital signatures of how we make things to be clear. So we'll talk about how industries are going to transform. And then finally, we're going to talk about the grid. The grid itself has to be modernized. We have to invest in better software. And what is a single directional system where we generate, transmit and distribute, and then consume will become a bidirectional system, where all of us, through our EVs, our batteries in our homes, battery management systems, behind-the-meter solutions, will be both generators and consumers of energy, and we will be selling back and forth in this bidirectional system. So we'll have, with Pankaj, with Manish, with Gwen, and with Fred, exactly those conversations. But what matters is the pace of change has to accelerate. All of you are here as leaders in your industry and your sectors. We talk about AI requiring us to change. How we attack this problem cannot be done the way we've done it before. We have to change the way we attack this problem. We have to think of it as a system. And we have to think of the integration of technologies that come together to make this work. Over the next 1,000 days, we're going to have to make choices, and those choices would either help us make sure we don't have the trade-offs to build AI faster than anybody else, and make sure that we don't impact the retail energy cost, to make sure we electrify transport and buildings, but make sure that we have safe and available power. We cannot let those trade-offs get in the way, and that means we have to attack the problem as a systems problem. That is what we're working on at Schneider Electric, to build a company that looks at those intersections, that brings together energy, industrialization, and automation, and software. And I cannot think of any better person to tell you about the company we're trying to build than our CEO, Olivier Blum.
Thank you, Amar. Good morning. Good morning, and thank you, Amar. It's a real pleasure to be with you. First of all, I have to tell you that being in the US for us is always important. It's always very special. For Schneider Electric, US is the largest country of the world from a market standpoint, largest country of Schneider Electric from a sales standpoint. And this is the country where we invent the future, where we design, we do R&D, where we manufacture, and of course we sell, and we sell with a very large number of partners, and doing altogether this mission with a great network of suppliers. So US is a very important country for us at Schneider Electric. And as you know, because yourself living in the US, we are in the middle of a transformation that we have never seen, probably, in our industry. I had the chance myself to work for 32 years in this company. I know I'm part of this kind of dinosaur. I don't know how you say that in English exactly. You work only for the same company for 32 years. But I can tell you the type of changes that we have seen in the past years, we've never seen that in the past 30 years before. So we are at a unique point of time of our industry, and actually the future of our industry is happening in the US. So for us, it's super important to be with you in the next 2 days, and we thank you with Amar and the rest of the team for spending time with us, because this Innovation Summit is about creating an ecosystem of customer, partner, supplier, people from the government, people who are also business analysts in our industry, to make sure that we invent the future together of energy technology. So thank you again for spending time with us. It's extremely important. It matters a lot for us, and we hope that you will enjoy and you will help us to build the future of energy technology. At Schneider Electric, we believe this century is a bit special. This century is about energy. And Amar has said already a lot about what's happening in the US. And of course, what we see in the US, we see it everywhere in the world. At Schneider Electric, we have been a very strong advocate for many years that this energy transition that we are looking at, whether you do it for security, you do it for efficiency, sustainability, affordability, is really the topic of this century. And we strongly believe it will happen thanks to electrification and digitalization. I'll come back later on electrification, but electrification, digitalization about, because we have been living in the past 10, 15 years, 20 years already in a world where we see digitalization touching every part of our life. But what is happening with AI is taking everything to the next level. And why we believe it's important for a company like Schneider Electric, because that takes the possibility we can deliver for our customer, the possibility we have on the technology that can take it to the next level. Couple of numbers that I don't need to go through, and I'm sure you are convinced already in your own life, but AI is touching every single part of our life. It's touching our personal life, it's touching company. Just as an anecdote, until yesterday, you know, the second number was 78%, and we realized yesterday by reading a report that already 88% of large companies in the world are implementing AI technology for function, and probably it will be 100% very soon. So every single day those metrics are changing, but just to tell that AI is touching our life, it's touching our company, but even more important, the investment that we see on how AI is going to impact our industry, the different industry all work, how it's going to impact machine, how machine, by being connected, by being amplified by AI, will take efficiency to the next level. We see a huge acceleration. So, of course, to deliver that major technology shift, we need definitely more compute. We need more data center, and that's very interesting here again. Because for Schneider Electric, it's not only about being a global leader that can provide the best technology, you know, to create those infrastructure in white space, in great space, but it's about really, it's challenging everything we think through. You will meet in the next 2 days all our colleagues, you know, from the different R&D department of Schneider Electric, who had their view 5 years ago on how a data center will look like, how you will make it efficient from a power standpoint, from a cooling standpoint. Every single week, every single point, say every single month, we are challenged on how we can go to the next level to build those 200 gigawatts, which will be by 2030, more than half of them will be to support AI. We believe by 27, it will be already 30% that will be for AI. And the type of technology that we will have to invent, of course, are pretty much impacted by our partner, by partners like NVIDIA, who are taking the GPU to the next level. I would say not every single month, but every couple of months, we see a new generation. For those of you who have been in the industry, probably you know that very well. But for those of you who are less familiar, we used to design data center a couple of years ago where you used to have 15, 20 kilowatt per racks. And it has moved very quickly to 30, to 40. We are already at 100, and we are designing the type of data center tomorrow that can go up to 1 gigawatt per racks, megawatt per racks. So you see the evolution, the speed at which the technology are changing is just tremendous. And that's why we work very, very closely with all those technology partners. Just to give you one impact that it has on the technology, up to 30, 40 kilowatts, you can cool a data center with air cooling. Beyond that, it's not possible anymore. And that's why Schneider has doubled down in liquid cooling. That's why we have invested a lot in the past 3 years, but also inviting Motivair, a US company, born in the US, developing product in the US, manufacturing in the US, who has joined Schneider Electric last year to take our data center technology to the next level. And by the way, we are extremely excited since Motivair has joined us. We have already doubled the capacity in the US, and we are going to double again probably next year to support the growth. So AI is touching every single part of what we do in our industry. But AI without electrification definitely is not possible. And we have entered in the past 10 years in a new era where electrification is growing everywhere in the world. Why? Because the usage have evolved a lot in the past 10 years. It has penetrated home, for instance, with heat pumps. You see it in transportation, and we see it more and more coming in industry, where most of the industry are electrifying their industry to become more and more efficient. So we see that happening everywhere in the world. And even if the usage are evolving at a different pace in different parts of the world, we are again in an era of electrification. And I remind you that electrification is by far the most efficient source of energy. 90% of what you produce can be used on the electrical side. So it has a lot of impact. The combination of AI with electrification, the usage are changing. It has a lot of impact also on the way we design the electrical architecture. We have all in this room been educated in a world which was a world of AC, of alternative current, and we are moving because of the usage already today in a world where we have to mix in every single application AC and DC. And we see this acceleration happening now everywhere in the world. Again, in each region, it will happen at a different pace. It will depend on, again, how fast the usage will move. But we have also not only to think about how AI is impacting our industry, but how collectively we are innovating the new architecture that support really this new electrical distribution of the future, which will be more and more hybrid. And some people ask the question sometimes, does it mean that everything will move from AC to DC? Not at all. But that will be a mix. And of course, you can imagine why. While you can build a lot of new data centers every year with the latest technology, on the electrical side, you have in your home an electrical panel, which is basically an AC electrical panel, and we're not going to change that overnight. So we are going to live in the next 10, 20, 50 years in a world which will be more and more mixed, and our job at the end of the day will be to invent those technologies that will be able to manage an hybrid world. So that's what we are doing at Schneider Electric. That's what we are doing more and more, to really see how we can mix those two major trends, which are AI and electrification. And of course, obviously, there is no AI without compute. There is no compute without energy. And we do believe that the equation to solve that Amer has mentioned at the beginning is possible with more energy intelligence, with intelligence in the energy sector. And that's why we are so excited at Schneider Electric, because we have been, for the past 10 years, saying that the future is about electrification and digitalization. But what AI is bringing to this equation is to take digitalization to the next level, and the combination of two give us a massive opportunity to make energy much more efficient everywhere in the world. So we are at a unique point of time in our industry. And we strongly believe that Schneider Electric, and whatever are the different angles that you take, planet, people, business, all matters, and all are powered by energy. We are in the century of energy, and we are at a unique point of time again, and I repeat it, because energy technology will make a difference in the next cycle. For Schneider Electric, maybe you know, or you don't know, next year will be the 190 years of the creation of Schneider Electric in the world. At every step of every single industrial revolution, we have been a very strong actor in disrupting technology and inventing the technology of the future. If you're not convinced by my statement, just let's have a look at the next video.
Schneider Electric has been advancing energy technology. Schneider Electric has been advancing energy technology for over a century, powering innovation and shaping the way we live, work, and thrive. In the early days of electrification, we made electricity safe and ready for modern life, pioneering technology that redefined what's possible. With the first arcless fuse by Square D, Marilyn Juran's high-voltage circuit breakers, and the first contactor by Telemecanique, we turned power into progress, lighting up communities, factories, and entire cities. As computing emerged, we made it easier to program and control industrial systems. The first programmable logic controller by Modicon, the first distributed control system by Foxborough, and the first 3D plant design software from Aviva, all pioneered modern automation, enabling mass production. By the 1980s, technology was becoming part of everyday life. CPAM 2000 was the first digital protection relay for medium voltage, offering better speed, precision, and safety. OSI Soft's Pi system empowered plant operators with easy access to their data, and Proface's graphic touchscreen made industrial control intuitive. APC protected our digital lives with the first smart single-phase UPS and laid the foundation for data center infrastructure management with its PowerShoot software. The new millennium brought advanced connectivity to industrial and energy systems. Resource Advisor became the first energy ERP tool, and ETAP introduced the first true digital twin technology for grids. Wonderware's system platform unified visualization, supervision, and execution for industrial control systems. And EcoStruxure, one of the first IoT platforms, made energy visible and systems interoperable across industries. In the 2010s, our innovation transformed traditional infrastructure into intelligent, connected ecosystems. Masterpack MTZ brought full digital micrologic to air circuit breakers, and Motivair's Chilldoor brought liquid cooling to high-density computing. Planon's cloud-based workspace management system transformed building operations. And PowerTag, the world's smallest energy sensor, boosted productivity across sectors. Today, energy technology can sense, think, and act. Our software-defined architectures are revolutionizing energy management and industrial automation. Automation Expert is the first open software-defined automation solution. For AI-accelerated computing, we're innovating end-to-end, including liquid cooling. And our legacy of innovation culminates in our fully reimagined EcoStruxure architecture. Leading the way with software-defined power and automation, it uses our advanced data hub to onboard intelligent devices, operate the edge control and computing layer, and optimize with software and services. From the first fuse to the future of quantum computing, Schneider Electric is, and always has been, your energy technology partner. We electrify, automate, and digitalize every industry, business and home, driving efficiency and sustainability for all.
To all our R&D engineers who have made that possible, but let's speak about the future. We have built this unique positioning in the market, and you have seen that in the past 10 years, we have invested a lot in new technology, in hardware, in software, because we see a world which is really moving in a direction that needs Schneider Electric also to go to the next level of our innovation. And that's why we want to be your energy technology partner. We want to be this company in the world that electrify, that automate, that digitalize, but that create a unique ecosystem where all those devices, whether they are hardware, software, services, everything is interconnected to create unique value for our customer, for efficiency and sustainability. How we want to do it? We have been at Schneider Electric, I said, for many, many years, a global leader in electrical distribution. Square D has been a unique franchise in the US. We love it. But what is very, very important, based on this unique franchise we have where we can electrify any kind of asset in any kind of segment, we have to go to the next level to automate again in home, in building, in data center infrastructure and industry. But we would not do our job if we won't go to the next level. And if for those of you who have been following at Schneider Electric, you have in front of you probably the history of our company. We have been a company who was electrifying assets everywhere in the world. Then we moved to the next level of automation. And in the last years, what we have done is to move to the next level of the journey, which is really to the level of digitalization, which is now accelerated by AI. And everything is converging inside what we call EcoStruxure, which is our platform, our open platform, where we invite everyone to join, which is a platform which is powered by AI that can create intelligent ecosystem in every single segment. Now, most of you have known EcoStruxure, and you can ask what's going to be the next chapter of EcoStruxure. The next chapter of EcoStruxure is to make sure that all those devices or controllers that we have at company, at Schneider, those software are interconnected. And everything starts by what we call the first layer, which is to help our customer to onboard through intelligent devices. What does it mean? We want to make sure in R&D every single device, every single hardware that we launch is connectable. Whether you as a customer want to leverage the connectivity or not, it's your choice, but we want those devices to be connectable. We want to make sure that when you build an electrical panel of Schneider and you have different devices coming from Schneider, they are interoperable, which means that you have only one gateway, you have only one customer experience, one commissioning experience. So in short, we want to make sure that we are digital first in everything we do. We want to do the same at the control layer by building a unique platform at the edge layer, both on the power side and the automation side, to make sure, again, we help our customer to operate through an edge layer which is software defined. Again, everything starts by the software. And last but not the least, we have organically developed a large number of software, but we have also invited other companies to join Schneider Electric, like Planon, like RIB, like ETAP, like Aveva, of course, to make sure we can go to the next level of EcoStruxure by being able to provide more insights to our customer. So that's what we have been doing in the past 10 years, but now what we are doing is to make sure that everything converges, again, one platform, one set of data, which are at the first layer, at the second layer, or third layer, to make sure we make the life of our customer easier. But we did not stop only at the product level, at the edge layer, at the software layers. We have also invested a lot in the past years in services, in field services, very traditionally to support our customer, but more and more in digital services, which makes sure that every time you buy a low voltage panel at Schneider, as I said, it can be connectable, and that can help you to have access to a certain number of data that will help you to do preventive maintenance, that will help you to manage obsolescence of your asset, just to give you an example. And we did not stop there. We have even enhanced all our capability in terms of advisory services, where we are able to help large enterprises who don't know how to start in their efficiency journey, to make sure we can advise them in an agnostic manner in the field of electrification, sustainability, or digitalization. So that's basically what is the new Schneider Electric is about, and how we are moving all of that to next level. But what's going to change even more in the next 10 years? You've seen on the previous slide that we have data at every layer. We want to make sure that we build a unique data hub for energy and process, where we are able to capture all the data, which are, again, at the device layer, at the operation layer, or at the layer of software, to make sure they are interoperable. And we invite, of course, third-party data. We don't want to be exclusive. We want to make sure we can also consolidate data which are coming from other devices in the equipment. And what is very, very important for us is to make sure that in every single segment in which we operate, we can help you from the design to build, to operate and maintenance, to manage those data to make you more efficient. Of course, you have a lot of examples you will see in the next 2 days about industry, what we are doing with Aveva to create digital twin. But what is also fascinating, back to what I've said about AI and how data centers are evolving, let's imagine on how when you play in the omniverse of NVIDIA, how you can simulate how the electrical distribution of a data center will work with different GPU that you will have in this kind of data center. You can simulate all of that thanks to our ETAP software to create, again, a digital twin of the electrical architecture of a data center. So that's what the future is about, is making sure that we don't only provide, again, all those devices, equipment, controllers which are connected, but we can help you to access all those data at the end of the day to create more efficiency for you as a customer. And what excites you the most at Schneider Electric, because we have been in this journey for the past 10 years, is AI is just taking everything to the next level. AI is helping us to create much more value for our customer, much more easiness to use those data. Take what I was talking about in digital services. AI is helping us to understand how an equipment is going to behave. And by learning and capturing those data, you can provide even more recommendation to the customer. So that's what we are excited about, to tell you that we love to build ecosystem at Schneider. We like to connect system, but what is even more important for you, we don't only need to create ecosystem for data, but we want to connect ecosystem where data, AI, and people work together seamlessly. And that's what is the Innovation Summit about, is about to make sure that we can connect together, we can work together on inventing the future of energy technology. So I will stop here because we have a lot of exciting stuff this morning in the program. But thank you again for being with us today, and I hope you will enjoy the next 2 days. Thank you. Now, we like to speak about theory and our vision, but we like also to speak with customers, and I'm very excited today to invite Raj Subramanian, the CEO of FedEx, to spend a couple of minutes with me to talk about our vision of the future of our industry. Please, Raj, come on stage. Thank you, Raj. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So while we are starting, just to tell you, so I'm not the only one in the room to have spent 32 years in the same company. Raj is part of these unique people also in the world who have worked only in one company,
that's right,
FedEx, and eventually became the CEO of the company. And Raj, also, we have a few other points in common. You've been living also in Asia.
That's right.
Correct? You have done a lot of different jobs in the company. And you have, of course, this unique position in your business to oversee the world, to work everywhere in the world. And my first question to you is, the past 12 months for every CEO in the world has been extremely busy. A lot of things have happened in the world from a geopolitical standpoint. Maybe my first question to you is, how does it impact your company, and what's your view of the macroeconomic situation today?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here. It's an honor indeed to be part of this conference, and the theme of partnership. I think there's opportunities for us to completely change the equation even further positively forward. For FedEx, we move about 17 million packages a day, and we are a referendum on global supply chains, especially the high-value supply chains, meaning we see things happen from the bottom up every single day. And I have to tell you that what's happened in the last few months and years has been a remarkable change in the supply chain patterns around the world. Just take a moment in history here. After the Second World War, global trade represented about 4.5% of trade. It kind of grew to 25%, and we grew with that. And then I think it's plateaued at that level, but the patterns themselves are now changing quite dramatically, and we see it firsthand. So, people talk about, diversification of supply chains. Well, we see it. We see, traffic patterns move, which used to be a lot of traffic used to go China to the US lanes. Now it's moving in different parts of the world. We see, Latin America inbound changing quite dramatically. So this is a shift in one equilibrium state to another, and we are in the middle of this shift. And I do firmly believe in these kind of things, opportunities do arise because it's a lot of flux. And we are in the center of this conversation, especially on high-value supply chains around the world.
Yeah. And if we deep dive a little bit, of course, the topic of global trade, tariff for every single industry has had some impact in the past 12 months. Tell us, we read a lot that supply chain have been impacted. We know that at Schneider Electric, but what does it mean for a company like
Well, the three aspects that I will talk about, the first itself is just related to what I just said, is demand. And the fact that we have over 53 years now built this incredible network, and people understand when you talk about a telephone network, but in a physical network, you can pick it up in any one part of the world and get it to any other part of the world. That's what we have built. And it's done step by step. So that's what FedEx has got. So when we see patterns changing in demand, we're able to react pretty quickly, meaning either we're already there in these markets, or if I need to add capacity, I can move capacity much faster than manufacturing can move. So we are adjusting to the demand with a lot of agility, and which has been very helpful for us. So the first aspect of it is demand. The second is operational. We are in the business of moving things end to end from one part of the globe to another, which includes, with customs clearance. Honestly, I don't think CEOs ever cared about tariffs and de minimis till about 12 months ago. Now everybody seems to want to know about this stuff. What we do becomes cool. We have operationally, we're doing everything in our power to make sure that our customers' packages and shipments and pallets move across the global system as seamlessly as possible in the circumstances as the level of tariffs change and the non-tariff barriers are also changing. So we are working with them. I do say this much. Prior to this, basic algebra would have done. Now advanced calculus is needed, and we do advanced calculus. Then the third thing is technology. So we have, think about this, for every country to every other country, for every commodity, we have the data. It's because what we needed to do our jobs. Now that data and the classification is, especially as we pass through borders, becomes hugely important. It is now a differentiating factor. I'm going to give an example. Try to ship this shirt from here to UK today, and you'll see how complicated that is. You're going to get 400 different possible codes that you can use. So now you're using Gen AI and on this data to be able to advise clients on how to improve their workflow and so on and so forth. So three impacts really: demand, operational, and technological. And we're, I would say, in the very beginning stages of it, nowhere near the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, it's a perfect transition to my next question. I was just talking a couple of minutes ago about the fact that we are in the century of energy, that AI is changing everything.
Yeah.
I was sharing what we are doing in terms of digital twin, for instance, for data center. And while we were preparing together the conference, you spoken to me about digital twin in your business as well. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Yes, I think this, I was just listening to the conversation. There was a lot of notes because I think there's a lot of, interesting similarities. Because what I realized back in 2020, that FedEx was sitting on this incredible treasure trove of data, but more importantly, logistics intelligence. And so we began the process. Like I said, 17 million packages a day, a petabyte of data, and really representing the latest and greatest in supply chain trends of the day. And tomorrow's supply chain will be different than yesterday's or today's. And so we started, this journey back in 2020 to able to collect and organize and structure and engineer the data. In fact, I created a company called FedEx DataWorks, and with this exact mission. And no, I didn't know that there was an AI revolution that was coming in 2 years down the road or 3 years down the road, but it did come. And suddenly, AI is now taken off, but the fuel for AI is data. And so the fact that we have our data organized and data engineered, so suddenly we have an opportunity to now leverage the latest and greatest of AI. The way I think about AI, I mean, a lot of folks talk about AI as improving efficiency in back office. Yeah, but that's not exciting for me. I mean, you got to do those things. But the more important and the better opportunity for me, for FedEx, is how do we leverage AI, and how do you leverage, most importantly, the data platform that we've already created to create new value for our customers, especially the industrial customers. We are really the heartbeat of the industrial economy in terms of moving everything around in a seamless manner, making those supply chains more resilient. How do you use our intelligence to make that happen? So that differentiation is a second layer, is an enabling piece, but it's a differentiating piece. And then the third bit is creating new value for new customers using the intelligence that we have. We just announced a partnership with ServiceNow in terms of building even more on the workflows. One last aspect is the physical AI. So this is also very, very important because of AI. How things move also change. If you go to some of our facilities today, they're fully automated. They go from one end of the building, a huge building, others, matter of minutes. But there are two parts that are very manual: truck unloading and truck loading, for example, of packages of all different sizes, shapes, weights, everything. This is a very complicated robotics problem, but now it's being solved. So we are working on those kind of things as well to see how we can make it human-centric and work with human beings to make sure that this is more efficient as possible. So there's a lot going on in this space. We are very excited, and the fact that we have done the work over the last 3 or 4 years actually puts us in a better shape.
Yeah, that's super exciting to hear. And you've talked a lot about AI, about the intelligence. At Schneider, we always say that you need electrification, automation, and digitalization. How in your industry, electrification and automation is impacting your infrastructure, your warehouse, everything? Because that's a foundation to have access to more data as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. FedEx is a very kinetic company. You can imagine, like I said, every moment, every second, we are in motion. We have 700 planes. We have 200,000 motorized vehicles. We have 5,000 facilities around the world. And so this aspect of electrification is very important for us. Our journey on the vehicles is to move towards electrified fleet. And so not only the fleet, but the infrastructure that's required for electrification is really important for us. The facilities, every one of those things, we want to be able to modernize it and work, in a much more efficient manner. So all the things that you're talking about, I'm just listening to say, this is an opportunity for great partnership here. There's one other subject that we touched on our package flows. Every package has got a package fingerprint. That's the unit of our twin that we manage. But it also has got a carbon footprint. So we can account for our customer supply chain at a unit level, not an average monthly level. We are the only ones who have this. And but your sustainability push, so I'm just curious how we can work these things together, because there's an opportunity here, because we do have what we call FedEx Sustainability Index at an individual package level for every customer.
Yeah. No, absolutely, you're absolutely right. And at Schneider, we always say that this energy transition, whether it's about sustainability and efficiency, the two are interconnected in everything we do in the business, for sure.
For sure, yes, absolutely.
Raj, it's really amazing listening to you today, because I think we all have the image of this kind of industry being a very traditional industry. In my introduction, I was saying this morning that at Schneider, I think we have seen more changing on the technology front probably in the past 3, 4, 5 years than in the past 30. It seems it's the case. Yeah. Now we have something in common. We are a very old company, yes, very traditional. People like you and I have been working more than 30 years in the same company. So what does it take to transform FedEx? More from a leadership standpoint, how do you make sure that the people understand this need for change, this appetite for the technology of tomorrow?
Well, I think from our point of view, we are a founder-led company I'm only the second CEO. I just took over 3 years ago. And our founder passed away this year, actually. And from the very get-go, change and innovation has been part of our DNA. I mean, in fact, we created this industry from scratch. And we say that if you don't like change, you're going to hate extinction. And that's just part and parcel of what we do. And so transformation is, when we honestly think about the history for FedEx, our founder, Fred Smith, said that the information about the package is as important as the package itself. He said this in 1978. So this is, that was born tracking and tracing. So we created that at that point. So that's been continuous with us all the time. So transformation is it's not a new thing, and it's part of our culture. And so we are going through 3 transformations right now. We have on the one set of things, we are making an organizational transformation, moving into one FedEx. We are all operating as multiple operating companies. Now we've moved to one FedEx. There's a networks transformation. We are fundamentally rethinking how our networks in the United States and global operate, because that's the core of our business. How do you make it fit for purpose for today? And a digital transformation. All 3 are underway as we speak. But I would just say that that's just part of our DNA, and that we just have to do it.
And you are doing very well.
I appreciate it.
Right. Last question before we finish. At Schneider, we love to talk about technology innovation, but we believe everything is about partnership and how you combine the two. What's your view about partnership, and what's the definition of partnership at FedEx?
So I think this is a very important question. I think in this day and age, we have fundamentally redefining the word, because I think a lot of things have happened in a vendor-supplier relationship equation, and then things happen certain ways. You look for cheapest price, whatnot, this and the other thing. But I think when we think about partnership, I'm looking for more strategic partnerships, and ultimately it is guided through technology. I will give you an example, and especially when we work with some of the retail partners. When they are, especially when you're competing against players who have integrated end-to-end from order entry to final delivery. So when we started a partnership conversation with some of the retailers, we actually sat down and wrote a white paper on how we are going to bring our technology and data together. And so now we have these walled common data platforms with our customers, where when the end consumer is on the website, orders something on the site, that information instantly passes not only to them, but also to us. And that's 12 hours before we normally would have gotten, and 12 hours is a lifetime for me. So that makes my supply chain smarter. But we can also then advise immediately where to fulfill that shipment from, given the latest in our network conditions, traffic, weather, and everything else, making their supply chain smarter. And oh, by the way, the end consumer who's actually receiving the package, because of deep learning models that now we are running on our pattern recognition, is able to increasingly accurately predict when that package is going to arrive at the doorstep. So we're making their supply chain smarter. So that, to me, is a partnership. We are now working hand in hand and making all our supply chains smart. In fact, we have evolved our mission to make supply chain smarter for everyone. And that's what we mean, and that's only happens through partnership. And I just kind of talked about an example, but this can come alive. This can come alive in so many different ways.
Raj, it has been great being with you. Unfortunately, I guess I have to stop here, but I have so many questions I would like to ask you. But I would like to thank you, and what I will retain from our conversation, which is really fascinating, is really how much data is transforming your company and creating the next level of intelligence. But to finish, I would like really to rebound on your last point. It's very interesting. Companies like Schneider and FedEx have been working together as partners maybe for very, very, very long time. But we did not have much in common probably 10, 15 years ago.
Yes.
But your last sentence was very important. I think technology is bringing us all together.
Yeah.
And defining together the next level of technology, of energy technology, it will be really about partnership, how we can work together, and of course with many other partners in the room. But Raj, Again, on behalf of Schneider Electric team, I would like to thank you for being with us, and I'm sure everyone has enjoyed the conversation and the discussion with you. Thank you, Raj.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So we are going to move to another very exciting part of the morning, which is really about going through 4 technology sessions where you will discover more about innovation at Schneider Electric. And we are going to start by, of course, something that everyone is interested to know, the world of AI and what AI Factory means for all of us. And for that section, I'm very, very pleased to invite on stage Pankaj Sharma, who is Executive Vice President of our Secure Power and Data Center business. Thank you. Good one.
All right. Well, first of all, I have to say that was really insightful. I'm sure all of you thought the same, listening to 2 of them, similar people. You know, when we talk about digital breakthroughs, we talk about AI, we talk about cloud, immersive experiences, all of that, there's something behind all of this which we do not see. And that something is power. It's infrastructure. It's the heartbeat. At Schneider Electric, that is what we do. We build this infrastructure. And we don't just enable this infrastructure. We are at the center of it, and we build it at scale. Now, AI is just a new big shift which we all talk about. We call it an engine for which the demand is increasing. It is insatiable. It's almost impossible to keep pace with that demand. But then as AI reshapes every corner of the society, whether it is science or storytelling or building new foundations, this is the tool which we build with infrastructure. Now, when we look at AI, we also think about it. This is a new era, right? We all talk about AI as something which has just emerged. It's a new era where intelligence, digital intelligence, is becoming an industrial resource. And all of that is being built on AI factories. Let me say this again. Digital intelligence as an industrial resource being built on AI factories. So how do we build these AI factories? Factories, we're calling them factories. They're not making any cars, they're not making any equipment, but these factories, as we call the AI factories, are building something even more powerful. What they're building is intelligence. Whether it is writing code, that code gets transferred into an image, or it is about identifying cancer cells, which a naked eye cannot even see. All of that is done with tokens. Tokens is the new atomic units of AI. Tokens is how AI thinks. And these factories, these big AI factories, are constantly processing these tokens, these small units, and they're turning that into information with which AI is able to think. Tokens help convert texts into images. So we put a text in one of our favorite tools, and it turns into an image. Tokens help with other examples like I gave in medical science. So these tokens, these are not just technical feats. These are human achievements. And these human achievements become a part of the bigger picture when we create these AI factories. Now, taking a step back, just a couple of years ago, and you heard it earlier, and Olivier also said that, the rack densities in these data centers, as we used to call them, and we call them AI factories now, used to be about 15 to 20 kilowatt at a single rack level. That has already changed, and I'm sure all of you are experiencing that. Even today, when we think about a highly dense data center, AI factory, we have up to 142 kilowatts already in one single rack. And that's changing. That's also changing fairly rapidly. Maybe in a year or two, with the way we are working together with different companies in the ecosystems, we're talking about going to almost as 1 megawatt per rack. Imagine, a megawatt per rack. And now when we think about a megawatt per rack, just think about the entire density in the AI factory. So let's understand a little bit more about the AI factory. And the best place to understand what's inside a factory is starting from the production floor. Now, in an AI factory, think of the production floor, everything starts with the GPU. You know, when you think GPU, there's maybe one company which comes to mind. I hope it is NVIDIA, right? You think about GPU, you think about NVIDIA, because this company is literally redefining the frontier of how these machines learn and how they learn so rapidly, the speed at which they learn. So at Schneider, we obviously partner with NVIDIA. We are building reference architectures for GB200, GB300 on the NVIDIA's NVLink systems. What we are also doing is we are continuing to work with them for the future. As you know, the future is the compute. All of this does not work without the basic infrastructure, right? And we start that infrastructure with the rack. It's interesting what just showed up on the screen, and in case you're wondering what's happening here. So this is what we call is the MGX rack. The MGX rack is built on the MGX design, MGX standard of NVIDIA. This is a rack which can take up to 4,000 pounds of gear. When I say gear, it's servers, it's very high density compute, including very high efficiency liquid cooling, and so on. But this is critical because liquid cooling is critical for the future. So this rack, but in itself, cannot work on its own. So it has to be a part of a system. And as you see what's building behind me, this is how it becomes part of a whole system. The system being where you build all of these racks, you put them together, and it becomes a part of what we call a prefabricated modular EcoStruxure pod. This is an EcoStruxure pod. This is one way of building data centers. This pod can take up to 42 highly dense, these kind of racks. And this, it's not just the racks which go inside. You see at the top of this EcoStruxure pod, it's all the liquid cooling, all the air cooling which is needed. But the beauty is this is all modular in nature, which means speed of deployment, which means when you think about deploying these data centers, speed is critical. We can do it in months. We don't have to wait years to do that. So all that in a rack system becomes a part of a prefabricated module, but then there's power. You need a lot of power. But you just don't need a lot of power. You need power which can produce all this intelligence, but we have to be able to use less and less energy, because that's where sustainability comes into play. That's about the future. So what we're doing, our mission is to work on the tokens. If you remember what I mentioned about tokens earlier, reduce the tokens per watt per dollar, okay? Let me just say that one more time. The new AI efficiency metrics of these AI factories is tokens per watt per dollar. And the entire effort of all of us here in this room, the entire ecosystem, is to be able to reduce that so that we build more and more sustainable data centers. So please remember this AI metric. Now, to build that, of course, you need a lot of physical infrastructure. Starting from a power perspective, of course, as Schneider Electric, we do a lot of work in terms of building these low voltage distribution type of plays. We build the UPS systems which go into that. We have recently launched the GVXL UPS system. You may have had a chance to look at that. This is one of the most world-class systems we have, the lowest footprint. It has the ability to manage the dynamic loads inside of the powertrain completely, which is very critical when you're running an AI factory. So like that, we keep building all of these, but power alone does not solve the problem. And it creates actually another big challenge. When you're putting so much of power inside these data centers, it creates a new challenge, which is heat. So there's so much of heat getting generated, and how do you take that heat out? You heard Olivier say a little bit earlier about liquid cooling. The reason why we need liquid cooling now is because you just cannot take out this heat with normal air cooling. So then you need the entire train of products which are built around liquid cooling. And that's how we use that in the AI factories. Now, a couple of things around that. You see at the back of your screen the Motivair, and Olivier mentioned this very briefly. Motivair is a company which became a part of Schneider Electric. earlier this year. And what you see is actually getting rolled out now is one of the CDUs. CDU, as you know, is a cooling distribution unit. It's a pretty massive unit, but it's a very unique thing. So first of all, before I go into this unit, just to talk a little bit about Motivair. Motivair is the only company in this world which has over 10 years of experience in building hexascale level AI factories, data centers, not just in this country, in many other countries. Now that is very important because it's not just about the product, it's about the experience and it's about the knowledge which goes and comes with that experience. So in building these CDUs, what you see here is what we call the Motivair CDU 50. So Motivair CDU 50 is one of the models of the CDUs which we have, other than so much other parts of the portfolio in liquid cooling. CDU, as you know, it's like the heartbeat of the thermal loop now, because you need more flow, you need more pressure, and obviously you need more capacity. So we design hand in hand all of these new ranges of liquid cooling along with Motivair and the company all put together. Liquid cooling is 3,000 times more efficient, 3,000 times more efficient than air cooling. Hence it makes this problem, or it helps solve this problem of heat. Now, what I would also like to say is that the CDU here, so when you think about heat is a huge challenge, right? But I want you to remember that heat does not set the limit. Performance does. So hence, performance is super, super critical. Now, one thing what I would like to also insist is, since you're all here for these 2 days, do take the time to go and meet with our teams in our Innovation Summit in the floor where they have all these booths, which is right around here on the 6th floor, actually. And you will see all this engineering which is being done there, and you'll see all these new equations and all these new ideas which are there. So that'll be a great chance for you to go have a look at that. Now, we talk about infrastructure, we talked about power, we talked about cooling, liquid cooling. Infrastructure alone cannot solve this challenge of what we are trying to do here. You also need software and you also need services. So let me just quickly start with services. What you see here back is EcoCare. So EcoCare is a services offer which is absolutely critical in the environment for when you talk about AI factories. It's a condition-based offer where we are able to bring in reliability, efficiency, but most importantly, predictive analytics, which means you actually solve a problem before it even occurs. And that is critical. Why? Because when you think about the current environment of these AI factories, and when you think about what is the model, the capital model of these AI factories, now when the value is at stake, which is so high, you cannot have downtime, right? You can't have a time where downtime becomes like an inconvenience. It's not an inconvenience. It's just unacceptable. It just doesn't work anymore. Hence, you need the offers like EcoCare. But then again, it's not just services. Let's talk about software a little bit. You know, the AI factories need to be smart, and they need to be smart with the help of software. What you see here is the example of the NVIDIA Omniverse. Why it is critical? Because we, as a company, we work with NVIDIA, but we create the digital twins of these data centers. Digital twins, as you see here, is not like a drawing. It's not like a little model or anything. It's actually a living, dynamic environment which simulates thermal behavior, electrical performance, airflow, and energy usage. And all of this is done even before you break ground, because it's critical to do all of this to lower risk, to faster the speed of design, and optimize the efficiency. So that's the part about Omniverse. Now, I'm also very proud to say that we are very privileged to have Rev Lebradian here with us today. Hey, Rev. Thank you for being here. And I'd also recommend 4 o'clock today, in the same place, we'll have a fireside chat with Rev. Rev will share a little bit more about the Omniverse, the simulation world, and of course also about NVIDIA, what NVIDIA is trying to do in furthering this mission of the AI factories. Take the time. Please do take the time to be here, be back here at 4 o'clock to listen to Rev. Now, we spoke about software, we spoke about services. Another thing which is critical is, just think about it, these AI factories create so much of intelligence, digital intelligence as an industrial resource. the same level of intelligence then is also used because you need to be able to run these factories, the physical infrastructure part of that. That's where EcoStruxure comes in. So EcoStruxure for us, it is like a full life cycle management platform which delivers real-time insights, predictive analytics, and optimizing the entire performance. And you'll hear a little bit more about that. Look, with that said, I want to be aware of time. I just want to leave you with one thing. You know, when we think about AI, it feels like it's magic because it's all happening so fast. But we have to remember that there is no magic without machinery. There is no intelligence without infrastructure. And then finally, there is no future if it is not sustainable. So with that, I will pause here. I will now request my colleague Manish to come up here and speak a little bit about EcoStruxure and what EcoStruxure can do to unlock the potential, not just in data centers, but in every single industry around the world, every single industry we play in. So thank you very much, and welcome to Manish. So that they can take this back.
Thank you, Pankaj, for the great insights on AI Factory. First of all, I'm so excited and thrilled to be with all of you and look forward to great conversation today and tomorrow. Now, let me continue the conversation from AI factories to broader built environment. We invest trillions of dollars together as a world in building, operating our infrastructure and buildings, airport, healthcare, educational infrastructure, all that power our lives. At Schneider Electric, we have always been committed to innovating in this space. Digital solutions, energy management solutions, but more importantly, giving the tool technology to empower you, your people, to innovate and make impact at scale. Now, we all know, despite our best intentions, our built environment still has a lot of inefficiencies. And we are also facing numerous challenges. I think Amit talked about it. Buildings are consuming a lot of energy, and there's a lot of wastage. But if you think about it, what are the big inefficiencies and challenges? We have siloed systems. We have data overload, not contextualized. We have a big challenge of skilled workforce, something I'm pretty sure you can all relate to it. And we have rising energy prices as well. So the real question for all of us is, can we solve these challenges to turn today's facilities, sometimes perceived as a cost center, but really turn those facilities into strategic asset of the future, unlocking billions of dollars of efficiency potential, but more importantly, turn them into one of the assets that can help us solve the energy challenge. Remember, energy saved in buildings can power the AI factories. Now, before we dig deeper, I want you to come with me and imagine what is the expectation of the workforce of the future. So let's a little bit time travel into the future. Let's start with high schoolers and middle schoolers who are going to be joining the workforce in, let's say, next 10 years. I have a middle schooler at home. I'm pretty sure you can relate to it. Where do they spend time? They are asking agents the questions on insights. They are writing innovative apps without writing a single line of code. They are simulating their choices in metaverse. Let's talk about ourselves. You, me in this room, the workforce of today, we are going to learn new AI and the tools, and we're going to become also AI natives. Just like in the last 20 years, we went from desktop to mobile to internet to mobile phone, lots of apps. I'm pretty sure you have lots of apps in your phone, transacting everything online. We are also going to see the same shift with AI. The real question for us is, what are the expectations of the workforce of the future? What will they foresee? They're going to foresee systems that are connected seamlessly, synchronized. They're going to expect automated operations, self-optimizing, driven by AI-based controls, augmenting traditional controls. They are going to think of those facilities as not only optimizing themselves, but part of the broader energy ecosystem, connecting with microgrids, EV, charger, utility programs, solving that energy equation. So now I have a question for you. We are seeing acceleration in AI, electrification. I think we have a unique opportunity to take these tools and transform our industry, the way we run our operations, our facilities, making them ready for the future with all the innovation that is coming around us. This is our moment to shift into a new era, the way we are going to run our facilities and operate our infrastructure. I am very excited to announce with you one of the most transformative digital innovation we are bringing to reimagine how we're going to run facilities into the future and unlock tremendous potential for all of us. This is our moment to shift into a new era. Let's play the clip. This is exciting to prepare, invent the future together with all of you. How are we going to reimagine how we run our facilities? EcoStruxure Foresight is the platform that brings simplicity, intelligence, and most importantly, getting us ready for the future readiness, and that's why we call it EcoStruxure Foresight. Now, I would like to invite all of you, because as Amit said, we cannot do it alone. We want you to come partner with us, and let's invent the future of our built environment. Now, I want to cover 4 critical capabilities of the platform. One is the foundation, which is the platform. Platform which is open, flexible, connecting millions of distributed infrastructure devices at ease, fast integrations, and more importantly, giving you the insights. Second is the domain expertise. We talked about lack of skilled workforce. It comes with pre-integrated applications, whether it's electrical distribution management, power quality management, energy management, or HVAC optimization, or also interacting with collaborating with the larger energy microsystem. It has you covered. It's still modular as well. The third thing is intelligence and AI. Think of this as your assistant. Assistant that gives you speed and makes you a strategic advantage. Automated engineering, writing single-line diagrams, doing fast operation, getting insights, and sometimes, very trivial things which all you can relate to is getting rid of all those nuisance alarms that people spend in the morning getting acknowledging. So it eliminates that. But the most importantly is coming back to you and your people and ecosystem. It empowers you to operate at speed and have you make big impact for your customer, your facilities. Now, I want to tell you more, but I feel like I'm getting an alert from Foresight on my phone. Hello, Foresight.
Hello, Manish. One of your chillers may fail in 6 to 10 hours, possibly due to a fault in an electrical panel in Zone 3. Do you want to see more details so you can resolve it?
Yes, can you please help me give more details?
I see a critical alarm for the panel that powers chillers in Zone 2. Analysis shows an abnormal voltage distortion. Do you want me to take you through the recommended solution?
Yes, please help me understand more.
Physically. Manish, before diverting the power, you can use Digital Twin to simulate and validate the outcome. Do you want to simulate step 1?
Absolutely. Let's just simulate and see.
Good call. Starting simulation. Simulation complete. You can operate now and divert the power.
Great, great, done.
I have pre-filled the work order with relevant information. Do you want to send it to the power engineer now?
I can see all the reports and charts. It will help the power engineer. Please send it.
Work order sent.
So you see, we managed to avoid significant downtime and save so much time. Time is money. Now, that's the power of integrating systems and unified view.
Manish, your quarterly review report is due this week. Do you want to see how your energy conservation targets are placed?
Somebody's keeping on my toes. Yes, please, can you take me to specific sites where we have missed energy efficiency targets?
Out of 40 sites globally, one in Texas has missed the energy efficiency target by 10%.
Please email me the energy by assets and your expert recommendations.
Done.
So, Foresight, before I let you go, I'm in Vegas. I'm kind of feeling, I want to indulge myself here. Can you tell me which poker table is going to be hot so I can try my luck?
My foresight stops here, Manish. Nice try.
So, yes, we have guardrails in place as well. So, thanks. Thank you, Foresight. Now, this is our future of how we're going to run our facilities. Simplified, intelligent, and future-ready. Now, when we talk about innovation, we said earlier, innovation and collaboration go hand in hand, and that's the only way we can scale. So when we talk about innovation and collaboration, there is a building that comes to my mind, Winthrop Center in Boston. which is a collaboration between Suffolk, Millennium Partners, and Schneider Electric, where we push the frontier, energy efficiency, cost, operational excellence, and tenant experience. You know, this is a building that has set the new benchmark. 65% energy efficiency or less energy cost versus any comparable building in Boston. Second, new benchmark in tenant experience as well as day-to-day operation. Now, before I go further, I would love you to hear from one of our industry leaders, CEO of Suffolk, John Fish.
I apologize I can't be with all of you in Las Vegas for the North America Innovation Summit. At Suffolk, we often say innovation is fueled by curiosity, vision, and partnerships. We're proud to be a longtime collaborator with Schneider Electric. Together, we have delivered some of the most iconic, sophisticated, and sustainable construction projects in the country. A collaboration on Winthrop Center in Boston, the largest passive house office tower in the world, is a powerful example of what is possible when organizations share a common vision. A vision grounded in innovation, sustainability, and community. Together, Suffolk and Schneider Electric are investing in the people, technologies, and solutions that are the boundaries of what is possible.
Thank you, John, for your inspirational words and push the boundaries. With that, I'd like to invite another innovator and visionary behind Winthrop Center, Chris Jeffrey, founder of Millennium Partners, on stage. Chris, welcome. Chris, you have built an amazing building vision. Tell us more about it.
Well, watching the first hour this morning presentation, two words come out for me. One is collaboration and the other is innovation. And this building has both. Collaboration, of course, starts with us in the real estate community kind of been doing things for the same way for a long time. And new ideas, which are always expensive, and therefore not always utilized. So in this case, what we decided to do is to match up with the future, Schneider Electric, John Fish and his company, Suffolk, some very talented engineers, and a great team that we have. And the purpose of this was to really not try to invent something new, but to take an old idea and apply it at scale. And that is passive house. But for those of you who don't know what passive house is, the concept is relatively simple. If you build an airtight perimeter and don't allow the leakage of buildings, we're talking now about cold climates primarily, but if you do airtight and seal the building, and at the same time, the heat that's generated in the building, lights, human beings, if you keep it and circulate it, you can achieve these kinds of energy savings. And it's quite amazing. It was a technology that was used for single-family homes in Germany. And our group decided that they could move it to scale, and we did.
And Chris, if I remember our conversation, so technology plus eco-structure together, you mentioned the airtight controls, which is key to enabling that.
Yes.
Now, I want to ask you, this is a visionary building. What was the idea? Where did the vision came from,
Well, the vision started with much of what I have seen here this morning. In 2017, 2018, we were trying to figure out what does the office building of the future look like? And what would be the components? And this is primarily tenant-driven. We wanted to build something that would be state-of-the-art when the building was done, but we wanted to be state-of-the-art and capable of changing over the next several decades. And so the idea was figure out how do you get light and air, very important part that tenants wanted. Much of this came from the surveys from our clients. Light and air means try to have 10-foot high windows, glass. Air, we have 4 times the amount of fresh air that is pumped into this building than in a normal office building. And you might say, well, how do you pump fresh air in and have an airtight system? And that is the key to the energy transfer system, where the warm air that's escaping is warming the cool air that's coming in that's fresh. The combination of all of these things presents a totally different work environment where people really want to come to work, and where our tenants, who tend to be the industry leaders and innovators in their respective industries, use as recruiting, retention, and the building is set up for them and their employees for the future.
Which is great. I mean, it's your vision. Now, I know I visited this building myself. First of all, your team is absolutely phenomenal. They gave me a great tour. And you talked about collaboration and innovation, right? I want to kind of build upon a little bit that you have heard a lot about AI.
Yes.
What's your view on AI in our sector?
Well, AI in our building is going to be very valuable because with the construction that we've put in, we anticipate that as new technologies come out, AI enhancing those or being part of that, as new technologies come out, we'll be able to incorporate them into what we've built already. A much bigger challenge that I don't have the answer to is how will AI help those 50-year-old buildings that don't have the right physical elements to help you with energy conservation. But in every building, the building management system from Schneider is going to help. It's going to help. It'll help more where you have a building like Winthrop Center.
We will certainly help Chris on that.
And speaking of that subject, I wonder if there's something new that you should tell the audience about Winthrop Center yourself.
Absolutely. I am super, super excited to announce that Winthrop Center is going to be our new North American headquarters in mid-2026. So big thanks to Chris, to you. It's going to be a new home, and it's also going to be our first impact building in North America. Impact building is Schneider's attempt to push the boundaries by bringing a technology solution with partners such as Millennium Partner to set a new benchmark and reference in the industry. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
With that, I'm going to wrap up. I'd love to invite all of you to Innovation Hub, have a look at our solutions, technology, foresight, but most importantly, build new partnership, talk to the experts. And now shifting from buildings to industry, I'm going to invite my colleague, Gwen, to share with us her vision on industrial transformation. Gwen, welcome on stage.
Well, hello everyone. I think that you have heard it today. We are standing at the edge of an industrial revolution, unlike any time before. Really, it's a one-of-a-kind revolution. AI is real, but automation too is absolutely essential. So I want to talk a little bit about automation and how it fits with the overall story. If we look just 1 minute at North America grid is under huge pressure, like never before, because we have rising demand, aging infrastructure, and at the same time, push towards decarbonization. And why industry matters? Because industry facilities all over the place, they use over 30% of the region's electricity. So it's quite enormous. And they are not just industry energy consumers, they are key to grid stability and efficiency. And this is just not only about manufacturing. Here I'm talking about all the energy and industry sector. Energy, chemicals, water utilities, and matter, all those different segments, you know, they have a role in energy. They consume a lot of energy. They have a role to play in matching demand and consumption of energy. And that's why I want to say that industry that will lead are the ones that combines all together automation, electrification, and digital intelligence, not in a separated way, but as a whole, all together. And that's why connecting power and process in a unified force for transformation is a huge differentiator. And this is exactly what we do here in the energy tech positioning that we have with Schneider. I think that Olivier brought up, he showed you everything related to our energy technology positioning. And this is the solution and services that today 90% of manufacturing trust us. So you see, energy technology, bringing together power and process as a differentiator. Now let's talk about North America. Believe it, manufacturing contributes to over $3 trillion to the US economy every year. It supports 13 million jobs. It's one of the most powerful growth engines. Now here, this other side of the story, and I want to tell you that. The sector is set to grow, reaching more than 90 billion by 2032. Many industrial systems are still stuck in the past. This is the reality. Many of our manufacturing customers, they are closed, rigid in terms of environment. They are within a pre-digital world, and everything has changed since then. So that's why all these rigid architectures, it's holding us back. And today, the world is quite different. We need to be competitive. It's not only just scale that we are talking about. We need competitiveness. And then it's intelligence, it's agility, it's openness, it's a new world. Maybe I can give you one example of it. If you like music, how music evolved over time. Remember, past years, vinyl needed a recording, a record players. CDs needed a CD players. MP3 were portable, but still tied to devices. And then come with streaming. Streaming, freeing up music everywhere, disconnected from hardware, making instant, scalable, accessible music. You see the evolution. And this is exactly the same for industrial system, exactly the same. That's what we call open software-defined automation, because it unlocks interoperability, acceleration of innovation, and giving the industries the flexibility they need to evolve. So you see, it's unlocking huge potential. Open software-defined automation. And this is what in Schneider have been building in the past years. This is a huge shift, right? And this is what we call EcoStruxure Automation Expert. I can tell you, when we started that in 2020, it was a bold move. It was really a bold move. And now it's deployed over 550 sites globally. So a strong evolution, and this is just the beginning. Why is that? Because many of our customers, they understand how it can help to simplify operation by choosing the best fit solutions and also future-proof their business. So it's a huge differentiator. And I can tell you, we're working also with AVEVA for the cutting-edge technology, connecting data, people, and processes at the same time. Why? Because we want to enable smarter decisions, and we want to have more sustainable growth. Remember the word. Open software-defined automation. This is the future, and this is happening today. So that's what we want to showcase today also at our innovation booth. You will see that in real. It helps from design to operation to optimization. It's all connected. Now, I've talked a lot about open software-defined automation, but also digital threads and smarter decisions and how to have more connected systems. But transformation doesn't happen on its own. And I want to reiterate that. It doesn't happen on its own. Why? Because we need leaders for that. We need leaders to think modern solutions. We need vision. We need leadership on that front, vision and courage to go in that direction. We need leaders who aren't just ready for the future, but are ready to be bold enough to build it. That's why I'm super honored to introduce someone who is doing exactly that in terms of leadership. It's Tony Coton. He's the president and CEO of 1.5, which is a company at the forefront of direct air capture, one of the most ambitious climate technologies of our time. It's a pioneer in low carbon innovation, is leading efforts to scale carbon market removal. And that's not easy. That's not easy. This is all about leadership. And is building infrastructure to meet the net zero goals that many of companies have. And today, he is here to show us what the future of industry can truly look like, powered by energy, by technology, but also driven by purpose and building for impact. You know, Olivier told about partnership. Let's go in details with this partnership. Welcome, Tony.
Good morning, Gwen. It's great to be here, and thank you for the introduction. There was one thread that really stood out to me, and I'd really like to pull on that, and it's that digital thread of what happens when we bring together technology, empowered people, and automation to drive bold change at climate scale. At 1.5, that's exactly what we're doing. Bringing together these technologies to start to drive change for our planet by leading the way with a first-of-a-kind facility to deliver clean air at scale. The goal of our team at 1.5, it's clear. We're here to help limit the global rise in temperature to no more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. Not 2.5 degrees, not 3.5 degrees. We aren't changing our name from 1.5 because we believe we can achieve this goal. And frankly, my marketing team would probably kill me if we didn't. Let me show you how this is possible. Let me show you how we've taken a bold vision and turned that into the world's largest direct air capture facility. It takes chemistry, it takes automation, it takes decades upon decades of boots on the ground experience in the oil field to be able to take CO2 out of the air and secure that in reservoirs deep, deep underground. Direct air capture, or DAC, if you like acronyms, it's sort of like the Control Z for the atmosphere. With technology driving demand for power, cement, and steel, we need direct air capture now more than ever to help balance this growth with climate progress. And the cool part, direct air capture, it plugs directly into our current energy system. The same infrastructure, even the same people that help build the old world can help build the new one. Meet Stratos, the world's largest direct air capture facility currently commissioning. Stratos is capable of capturing 500,000 tons of atmospheric CO2 every single year. That's like taking a process-controlled network with thousands of moving parts that are choreographed by software every single day. Before we build this physically, we build it digitally with a full-scale digital twin model. Every fan, every pump, every loop is actually simulated in software to test, to optimize before breaking ground. Once live, the system keeps learning. Every sensor, every algorithm, every cycle, it actually monitors, it adjusts, it improves with real-time insights thousands of times a day. It's actually like this facility runs itself because it kind of does. Automation, you see, isn't just about efficiency. It's what makes climate scale possible. I hope our story has inspired everyone in this very large room to see just what can happen when we bring together technology, shared purpose, and innovation to tackle one of the greatest challenges of our time. Together, Schneider Electric and 1.5 are proving what happens when autonomy meets climate ambition. Thank you.
No, thank you, Tony. Thank you. You see, I think that what we have to retain is that we are at the moment of immense opportunity, right? But it is at the same time a call to action. A call to action to double down on digital, to prepare the workforce of all that's coming, but to embrace open software-defined automation too, to rethink energy, to lead by example. Let's go back to America. In North America, we have 36,000 products that are certified by for domestic manufacturing, made locally in America and for America. Made locally in America, for America. 36,000. It's not minimal. It's quite significant. And I'd love to share with you one example of this commitment. What is that? Here you see our Altivar Drive 630. I'm super proud of it because it's made here in Fairfield, Ohio. It's one of our 19 facilities in the US. Made in America, for America. Maybe you have seen it in the White House. Earlier this year, there was an event for investing in America. And this was shown. This little drive is quite a celebrity in reality, right? This is what we think in US manufacturing. And why I'm talking about drives. Why is that? Because you have to realize that drive is at the backbone of the industrial efficiency. Look, electrical motors use nearly 70% of industrial electricity in North America, and drives can cut that by up to 50% with variable load applications. So it's quite significant. It's not only just energy saved thanks to drive, it's grid capacity that we don't need to build. So you see, drives, it's an enabler to reduce peak loads. It's an enabler for smoother consumption, and it makes operation more flexible. So that's why drive is so important. They unlock change, they optimize production, and how we optimize the consumption of our own energy. And ultimately, in how we build a more resilient North America grid. So you see, I really wanted for you to see that. It's quite impressive. It's made here, North America, for North America. This is our commitment. And now I would like to give the floor to Fred, who is our EVP in charge of energy management. He will bring all that together in one very significant storyline. So please, Fred, come here.
So we just explored the roles of data center, of buildings, of industries in the future. But there is one thing that we should all stop and think about. None of this can work without proper grid supply and without the proper use of the energy that is the energy of the future, that is electricity. So what I'm going to do is bring you a bit backwards, 2 decades ago, and look at the way electricity was produced and distributed. Extremely linear. That's a system we all know, with centralized generation and distribution, at that time, mostly to residential sectors and industry. Let's move a bit forward, and let's look now what is the landscape that electricity have to serve. First, there is a surge of demand, and it was explained already by Olivier, largely because of new applications that are only working with electricity. You all think of data center, for sure. But think about HVAC. Think about electrical vehicles. Those applications that are growing every year are using more and more electricity. The second thing is that supply is not anymore centralized. Supply of energy is today a mix of centralized and decentralized energy. And we start to have discussion on autonomous power generation, what is called behind-the-meter power generation for electro-intensive or energy-intensive application. So the grid is not anymore linear. It becomes omnidirectional. And in order to manage this multi-direction, you need innovation, you need technology, and you need a few technology. You need, of course, connectivities, you need to be able to act, and you need to be able to balance demand and supply. And I'm going to explain you why it matters. It matters for two purposes. I'm going to go to a curve that probably some of you have seen that is called the duck curve because of the shape, which is the way the electricity demand is evolving over a period of 24 hours. And this works every day. And you have normally two periods. Two periods where basically supply exceeds demand. One during the night, you understand all that, and another one during the day, if you are a sunny day, and you have a lot of production of renewable. With technology, with digital technology, if you connect well demand and supply, you're able to benefit from those windows of low cost of energy because supply exceeds demand. Now you see as well that at normally the beginning of the evening, there is a peak. And eventually this peak is not compatible with the capacity of supply. And what digital allows you to do is to shave this peak. So if you want to operate, if you want to create more electricity demand, thanks to digital, thanks to technologies that connect demand and supply, you're able to shave the peak. And you're able to operate your business in better condition, either at a better cost point, either with the right use of energy and flexibility capability for 1 hour per day. So that is the power of digital. It allows you to keep running your business, and that's why technology matters. Technology allows you to connect electricity, automatization, digitalization, so that at any point of time, demand and supply are matching. Is it important already today? Will it be important in 5 years? Even much more, because tension on demand will be there. Now I will bring you to technology and the way technology can help you to manage this connectivity, demand and supply. And I will take the analogy of basically a brain and a nervous system. And you will go into 3 steps. One step that we have called energy intelligence, which is where you gather data, and I will give you example, data of energy that you can use to improve your processes or to balance demand and supply at any point of time. And if you go below, in the comparison, I would call it the nervous system, you will have substations that are more and more future ready, means they are piloted by central system, and they are able to be tuned to exactly what they want to be made. And you know that at the demand side, there is more and more need for direct current in many applications, in data center, in buildings, because many of the demand is using direct current. And then I go one level on to the nerve termination, which here as well, technology for managing electricity is evolving, because we will have not only electromechanical breakers that we have been used to have, but a combination of those mechanical and of those solid state technology that are much better to manage the grid. So now I'll go through a set of examples, and I want to introduce our new AI agent companion, a companion, a worker, an AI worker, an agent that is called Sierra, and that is working on accumulation of data that we had at Schneider Electric, data around energy that we have agglomerated over the time. And let's see, because it's going to go fast, but our AI agent is able to automate, for example, your energy invoice processes. It can replace tons of manual check that today you are doing with people. They check anomalies, they set reduction targets, and they operate to be able to drive that in line with your emission strategy or your sustainability journey. This is what we call energy intelligence at scale. It turns complexity into clarity and action. So this is one example, and you can see more in our Schneider Advisory Services area here in the Innovation Summit. Now I'm going to bring you to another example, because I spoke about grid, and here you are able to turn actions, to turn data into actions and help operators. I'm going to go now fast into the system of tomorrow, the electrical system of tomorrow, and let's look at traditional medium voltage substations that probably many of you know. This can be completely revolutionized with software-defined power, because in software-defined power, you have not anymore long lead time. You can program your substation at the day you commission it. And you reduce your lead time, you simplify your operation. And let's go one step deeper into now the final system, into the terminal nerves, where we basically detect power, where we are able to act at the local level. Traditionally, you had traditional electromechanical protection. Now, with direct current, we are able to go much faster with a mix of solid-state technology and hybrid technology, and you will have coming every month new breakers that come to manage better those terminal nerves and be able to drive electricity into where it will be in the future with much better performance. So I wanted to have you going into what we do to innovate in terms of electrical distribution and make your installations ready for the future. Now let's be clear. Speaking about electricity, it's much better to do it with somebody that operates electricity every day. We've seen the new energy landscape, and we've seen how much the grid is fundamental into the energy landscape. So I'm extremely happy, humble, and honored to welcome on stage with me to speak about grid evolution, the chairman, president, and CEO of Southern Company, Chris Womack. Welcome, Chris. And welcome today to this fireside chat, Chris. It's a pleasure to have you. Southern Company, you're at a pivotal moment. 9 million of customers and a growing energy demand. So I guess to start with, tell us about what it means for you and how does it impact your planning for the coming months.
First of all, let me thank you for being here and inviting me to join you. I love the partnership that we have with Schneider. I mean, I think it's so beneficial to our customers who are at the center of everything that we do. I've really enjoyed the early parts of this conference because the word revolution has been mentioned so many times. And most times we talk about revolutions kind of in retrospect. We can look back and see that we are in fact have gone through a revolution. I do think today we're in the early stages of a revolution, kind of the next phase of that digital revolution. I do think we are in this period where this incredible demand is occurring and all the changes that are taking place. The question becomes kind of where is it going? I mean, I look at our business, I look at our company. I mean, we're going to build a lot more sooner rather than later. I mean, we're going to increase by about 50% by the 2030s the capacity of our system. We have about a 40 megawatt system today. So by the early 30s, I think you'll see our company be in the 50 megawatt range. And so you look at over the next, by the end of this decade, we'll build some 10 gigawatts of power. I mean, we'll move from 65 megawatts of batteries up to about 6,000 megawatts of batteries. Another 10,000 of gas turbines, about 6,000 megawatts of solar. So there's just a lot of construction and building that we see to meet this incredible growing demand. And so I think as we go through this revolutionary phase that we're in, there are some incredible, I think, opportunities and challenges that we face. We've got to make sure there are good partnerships between us, between the government, to make sure we can respond to this incredible need. The other thing we have to do as we look forward is making sure that as we address and respond to all this growth, that we balance growth and affordability. We cannot have other customers pay for this growth. We've got to make sure that as we price these data centers, that we do it in a way that provides benefits to all customers. Technology solutions on our grid, from EMS, ADMS, all the things that you help us with would be incredibly important as we not only meet the growing demand, but we maintain resilience, we maintain reliability. And so it's an incredible time with this growing demand, and we're excited about building for the future.
Yeah, that's exciting period,
Yeah.
challenging, I guess.
Yes.
How do you see your mix of energy evolving over the period?
I mean, we've always talked about all the above, making sure that we utilize all the resources that are available to us. I mean, whether it's, yes, we're going to build a lot more natural gas, a lot of natural gas turbines, both combined cycle as well as combustion turbines. We're going to extend coal plants as long as we can because we need those resources on the grid. We just finished building the last 2 nuclear plants in this country in 23 and 24, bringing them online. And I'm pleased to say those units are operating incredibly well. And we're going to have to build more nuclear. That's one of the places where we're going to need to have more partnerships between customers, between government, to make sure that we build more nuclear in this country. But I've said before, I think this country should be building another 10 gigawatts of nuclear in the next couple of years to have it online by the mid-30s to meet this incredible growing demand. Gas, renewables, battery storage, all the resources I think will be needed to meet this incredible growing demand.
And of course, we love partnership, and thanks for the partnership. But one question I want to ask you is, where do you see the biggest area for innovation? Where are you still willing to go, right? Where do you need more innovation?
Innovation, I think, is unlimited. I mean, in this period that we're in, when we see this incredible growing demand, and we have I'm not sure we know where it's all going. I mean, and some people say, where is there a bubble? You know, I look at the market, I look at the technology. Yeah, I mean, should NVIDIA and all the hyperscalers, I think if you combine them together, they got about a $13 billion market capitalization. Should that be a little less than that? I don't know. But I know the technology is not going to slow down. I mean, if you were reading the press clippings today between Anthropic, Microsoft, and NVIDIA, they made a announced a $30 billion partnership today to support the advancement of Claude. And so the investments continue. And so there's going to have to be more innovation to meet the growing demand, but also support all the work that must be done. So we have to continue to innovate to make sure that we provide all customers with the service they expect from us, but also to make sure that we're always enhancing the reliability and the resiliency of the grid. So we have to continue to innovate to meet that demand and the requirements for the future.
And probably a last question on overall partnership, public, private, technology company. How you see that coming into play, and what are you doing personally to support that?
Yeah, it's going to be essential. I mean, all of us with this I mean, we've never seen this kind of demand before in the history of this country. Like I said, when you think about revolutions, you saw, as you look back, what steam did to changing the whole agriculture mindset and motors, and then you saw electricity as we moved through society. We saw the initial phases of computing. And now we're in this next phase of this digital revolution that is occurring. And we have to have these partnerships to move through this period of time. And whether it's not only just financial partnerships, but I think partnerships of sharing intellectual talent and intellectual knowledge as we work together to make sure that we're supporting the total economy and that we're leaving no one behind. There cannot be these have and have-nots. You know, we see that across income gaps. We see wealth gaps getting wider. We've got to make sure that as we move through this revolution, move through this opportunity that we face, that we bring everybody along. And so I think those partnerships are going to be so incredible, so important to meet this growing demand, but also to make sure that we're providing the reliability, the resiliency, but also addressing issues of affordability as we move through this period.
Thank you very much, Chris, to be with us.
Yes,
Thanks
Fred,
for
thank
the
you very much.
partnership
And
a big respect for the job you are doing to keeping the light
Yes.
on, but not only, to accelerate the demand.
Thank you very much. And good success with the rest of the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And we are excited to continue this journey together. With that, I'd like to welcome back on the stage our CEO, Olivier Blum, for the closing of the session.
So it's great to be back. I know it has been a long session, but as you know, this week in Las Vegas, there are two very, very important events. The first one, which is of course the Innovation Summit of Schneider Electric. But many, many of you know that at the end of the week, there is a Las Vegas Grand Prix, the Formula One Grand Prix. And look, we wanted to take a minute, to celebrate. Probably for some of you who are close to Formula One, McLaren has done a good job. Therefore, my jacket, for the second year in a row, they have been winning the championship. So let's watch quickly at the video to celebrate McLaren victory this year again. If the video comes, that would be great. Yeah, that's nice. That was not exactly the plan. It's really my great pleasure because I think there is no better person than the CEO of McLaren Formula One Racing himself, Zach Brown, to join me on stage to exchange about Formula One and technology. To see you, Zach. Please, please. Zach, first of all, thank you. I know it's a very, very, very busy week for you.
Yeah, but I happened to be in town, so it was a good,
I know.
good time.
I know.
Morning,
I know.
everyone.
And look, you don't know that, but a couple of months ago, I was in the UK, in London, to visit the technology center of McLaren. And I was really amazed, first of all, by all the technology you had there in London. And we had the chance to meet, and I said, hey, Zach, it's a coincidence, but we're organizing our Innovation Summit in Las Vegas the same week of the Grand Prix. By any chance, would you be available? And thank you again for taking the time in very, very busy week. Look, Zach, if I understand well, you've taken McLaren over in 2017, correct, as a CEO. Now, second year in a row that you've been winning. We are going to talk later on about technology, data, a lot of stuff, but let's start by performance. What is the magic recipe of McLaren? What is your magic recipe?
People. People and culture at the end of the day. We're, of course, in the technology business, unbelievably competitive. Formula One. 2% separates the kind of best from the worst team. So as I even tell the team, the worst team in Formula One is very good. So the competition is unbelievably high. And while, of course, you need to have amazing technology and drivers, getting a team working together is quite powerful when you get everyone rowing the same direction and working towards a common goal.
And we all understand from behind, of course, it's a lot about technology for performance, it's about people. How do you manage? Because, you know, we love to be a technology company at Schneider. Managing technology, managing people, how do you manage this dimension of being super innovative and bringing people on board?
I think it's about getting people understanding their individual contribution and how that rolls up to a common goal. So when you think about our ultimate measurement is results on the racetrack, and so people default towards the aerodynamic department or the designers. But if you take a step back from that, the first group that we need to take care of are our race fans. Without race fans, there's no Formula One, there's no McLaren, so you have to have a great communications and marketing department. Then, of course, with your fans, you need to bring in great corporate partners who integrate into our racing team, not only help fund it, but help develop technologies with us or engage with the fans. So you have to have a great commercial department. We live in a cost cap world, so how we spend our budget is critically important. So my finance department is so before I've even mentioned people that actually touch the race car, the machine has to be working, and so people need to understand how much we appreciate their contribution. Then, of course, you have your head of HR, which drives culture and work environment. Then you hand it off to your racing team to design, build, and race the race car. And so to get an organization all knowing that they're equally as important to contribute to our success is quite powerful because it makes people proud. I know how hard it is to do with 1,400 employees. I've always kind of scratched my head how you do it with 160,000 because it's a big machine, but it's so powerful when you get everyone working together. So I think culture drives performance and also learning by mistakes, right? In the technology business, it's this didn't work, this didn't work, and then that worked. And so it's a series of failures that as long as you're learning from mistakes, that's how you're constantly improving. So not being afraid of kind of learning the hard way.
So this conference, as you know, is about energy technology. We are talking a lot about electrification, digitalization, and of course how data and AI is changing everything. When I was in your tech center, I was really amazed on how that data have penetrated every single part of your company. I mean, can you tell us how you manage, how it has changed the world of Formula One and McLaren in particular?
Yeah, it's, you know, we're a performance-led organization, so everything we do is focused on will this make us better, faster, more efficient, whatever the goal is on a particular project, and data informs our decision making. We still, you know, need that business instinct or what we call racer instinct because we have so much data coming in. We pull down 1.5 terabytes of data a race weekend. We have 300 sensors on the race car, but that also can be data overload. We also have times where we need to literally make split-second decisions, so we're constantly having data fed to us. We run about 50 million simulations over the race weekend, and there always seems to be 50 million and one, and that one we didn't run, which sometimes happens at a race weekend. So that's where the racer instinct comes in, and the data that we're getting. Let's say it takes 18 seconds to get the tires out of the tire blankets, and it takes 20 seconds from the entry of pit lane to the stop. If an incident happens 2 seconds in front of pit lane, we literally have 2 seconds to make a decision. So there's not much time to have a debate over it. And so you will have all seen, for those of you that follow Formula One, tires come in, or drivers come in, tires aren't ready. It's amazing how many heads of strategy I have sitting on their couch watching television when you get it wrong. But it's quite easy to get wrong. And so you got to trust your instinct, trust the data, be current on the data. But now we use AI to help filter the data. So when we do have a split second to make a decision, we have the right data that's presented to us.
When I was in London, when we met, I really discovered how data was important. And of course, we are very pleased, Schneider Electric, to help you on the technology side, you know, on the data center, to make sure that all of that can happen. But what was very interesting in our discussion, you mentioned that it was about people, technology, but also sustainability. And your goal was really to find a good balance to deliver the great performance at the end. Would you like to comment?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, sustainability, like everyone here, is, you know, it's very important to us. We're very proud of our sustainability initiatives. However, we're a performance-led organization. So the secret sauce for us, which is where working with you is great, is being performance-led, bringing sustainability to the table, but not compromising performance for sustainability reasons. You know, we live in milliseconds of performance, so it's a perfect blend of sustainability and performance come together, and that's critically important. For us, we're 24 races around the world. We've been connected cars for 30 years. When we're racing here in Vegas, we have a team back at the factory running simulation, and we have effectively a mission control, if you'd like, if you kind of think of NASA and, you know, the rockets up there, but if it's all happening down in Florida or Texas, we're very much the same. So that connectivity, the power that we need, the data that we need, and the efficiency that comes with that. And it's great because we embrace new technology. That's the sport we live in. So we're constantly trying to figure out what's tomorrow's technology, not what's yesterday's technology.
And I can confirm, it's for us, it has been great working with your organization and with your tech team, because they're always pushing us to the next level from a technology standpoint, to bring energy and AI together to the next level, and we love that.
And that's something that I think Formula One, the type of people in Formula One, sometimes you have something on the shelf that we can use, but where it gets really exciting is when we can work with technology partners and go, we're trying to solve for this problem, can we do it together? Because then all the engineers feel like we're racing together, and that becomes culturally very powerful when people can see us win a Grand Prix and that our partners and suppliers feel like they contribute to it. So sometimes we're fortunate, we can take something off the shelf. Other times we need to problem solve and engineer together.
And thank you. We love the technology partnership. Hey, Zach, I could speak about technology for very long, but I'm sure in this room there are a lot of people who love Formula One. We understand this year is a kind of very competitive championship. Tell us, is it a very important weekend for you? Is it the end of the story this weekend, or are we going to wait a little bit more?
Formula One has never been more popular, never been more competitive. Even though we've won 14 races this year, I can tell you it's been 14 very stressful weekends.
That's why people love it this year.
It's amazing. The sport is in such a healthy place. The drivers have never been better. The teams are very healthy. The Grand Prix around the world are kind of like 24 Super Bowls. And then the business that goes on in Formula One, it's, you know, 24 Super Bowls from a sporting standpoint, but then it's like 24 Davos from a business standpoint. So it's and it's very global. And, you know, 3 races to go. We have a sprint race in Qatar. We're currently first and second in the Drivers' Championship. We're letting our drivers race. They're racing each other hard, kind of coming back to people watching Formula One on their couch at home, which is what makes sport fun, but they also have their views on how we should go racing. But we want the best driver to win, so our job is to give them both equal opportunity, and it gets pretty stressful, but that's the right way to go racing for McLaren. We're racers, and so we lean into challenges. We like challenges. We're not afraid of them, even though we know we're trying to do the impossible, because anytime you've had an inter-team rivalry, it usually ends in tears. So we've got 3 races to go, and so far so good, but there's a lot on the line.
But again, this one is very important for you.
This is a big one because, you know, this Max Verstappen guy, who's pretty awesome, he's like the bad guy in that horror movie that you keep shooting and he keeps coming back to life. So, I mean, he's an unbelievable talent. So it is a 3-way race for the championship. He can't afford to have a bad weekend because he is just kind of hanging on, but we can't afford to have a bad weekend. So this is a huge weekend because it might close things up, might separate things. In the last race, Lando won, but Oscar didn't have a great weekend. So while we created a bigger gap to first, we reduced the gap, unfortunately, between second and third. And our goal is very clear. We don't want to just win the Drivers' Championship. We want to win first and second.
Zach, I know your time is precious. Thank you very much for being with us. Wish you all the best for this weekend. But before we leave, I would like to invite Monique, who is our head of marketing. We have a little surprise for you. This you are not aware.
Very nice.
Please, Monique, come on stage.
Zach, as you know, I work for the company, so my name is Monique Elliott, and I lead brand and communications. But what people don't know is that my father-in-law was the chief photographer for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for 37 years.
Oh, cool.
And when he passed away, we inherited his private collection of photos, of which was a curated selection of McLaren throughout the years. So these are originals from his collection. There's some fun ones. You've got
awesome.
Johnny Rutherford getting a kiss from his wife after winning the pole, and you have Penske here with Mark Donohue strategizing before the race in 1976, I believe.
Yeah.
And as much as we,
win.
that's right, as much as we love these, given the historic relevance of them and the rarity, it would be our pleasure to donate these to the McLaren Racing Archives.
Awesome.
And so we wanted to leave this with you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Super cool. Super cool.
Thank you.
All right.
We've won Indianapolis three times,
That's
twice with Johnny Rutherford.
Yeah.
And that's actually why we went back to IndyCar, was our history there and the importance of North America. So those pictures are very cool. I'll make sure they end up somewhere between at McLaren and at my house.
There you go. Wonderful.
Thank you.
You're my pleasure. My pleasure.
Zach, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And again, all the best for this weekend.
Thank you
very
much.
Zach.
Enjoy the race. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
That's super.
So we are going to close the session, and to close this session, I'm going to invite Amer back on stage for the last part of the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olivier and Zach. You know, The Irishman by Martin Scorsese, 3 hours, 30 minutes. I promise you we're not going to keep you that long. Plus, we've already given you a preview of what you're supposed to do after this, go to the 6th floor, right? So you saw that messaging that we put in. That was a conscious choice, of course. Look, it's been an incredible session. Thank you for all our guests, all our speakers, but mostly thank you for your time and your engagement. We talked about the fact that the next 1,000 days matter. And look, we're sort of obsessed about time because I think there are moments in the evolution of any industry where change has to happen more quickly, and every actor in the value chain has to own that. The next 143 weeks, or 11 quarters, and just to give you perspective, COVID was 20 quarters ago. Feels like yesterday to me. So in the next 11 quarters, we have to make these choices. Chris said it really well, Womack, that we can't make this about either or. We can't be, we're going to build great data centers and own the development of industrial intelligence, or we're going to have affordable energy for every citizen. That can't be the trade-off. So we have to find collectively a better, smarter way to attack this problem. And so that urgency is critical. There are lots of things we've talked about, but we think distributed energy is going to be a big part of this. We think demand-side digital efficiency, making the assets we have smarter and more capable, making them more efficient is going to be critical. And by the way, as energy costs go up, the payback on that technology to make them more efficient gets faster. And we've seen this happen in other markets. And then, of course, we're going to have to modernize the grid, and you heard that great conversation with Fred and Chris. There are ways we can help. We have for a long time been supporting our customers, and a lot of you as end users are thinking, where do I start? How do I catalyze this change? That's exactly why we have brought together a set of capabilities, and we've created Schneider Advisory Services that help you start with the beginning, look at your problem, look at your data sets, and say, how can we engage in a more effective way? This is not consulting. This is not strategy at a sort of high level. This is people who are practitioners or technologists who understand your operations in detail, helping you build roadmaps to execute the exact challenge we've been talking about. So these services are a critical way to partner and engage, and it's a starting point. And of course, for a long time, we have been delivering critical infrastructure services, not just for Schneider content, but in any building with any electrical content, because it's your asset in all its heterogeneous nature that matters that we're trying to support. So look, I think where we come back to is that this is an ecosystem opportunity. It's not just about the systems we're connecting, it's the ecosystem of companies, how we operate, of the data, of our physical processes and our digital processes. And that is what the goal is for the next couple of days. So please continue to take the time, invest in the conversations, invest in the discussions you're having amongst each other, resources. Tell us where the technology from a software standpoint can be easier to access. How can we train your workforce to be more effective in using it? Those challenges, those conversations make us better and make us your energy tech partner. This is our privilege to host you, and thank you for investing the time. And now you can proceed to the 6th floor. Thank you very much.